Hi everyone, back again with Top 10 in the world. We all know sports are dangerous, but some sports activities, and especially the extreme ones, have a level of danger that can't be matched by anything else. Given these facts, we've tried to come up with a list of the 10 most dangerous sports in the world, based on how risky the activity is and how many chances of dying there are while practicing the respective activity. Here are the top 10 list of the world's most dangerous sports. Number 10. Wrestling. Wrestling is an extremely physically demanding sport requiring endurance, speed, and strength, no matter the age of the athlete. Athletes often wrestle in multiple matches through an entire tournament, sometimes with back-to-back matches in days, which greatly fatigues the body and increases the risk of injury. Because wrestling is a very physically demanding sport, we see many athletes with contact injuries from high-impact throws, twists, and specific dislocations. This leads to a high incidence of sprains, contusions, bruises, dislocations, fractures, concussions, and even serious injury. Given the nature of close skin-to-skin contact, there is also a very high incidence of contagious infectious skin disorders that may be passed between wrestlers if not treated properly. Number 9. Auto racing. Race car riding is a competitive sport. Around the country, people gather to watch these racing events. But what most people don't know or don't take seriously are the many life-threatening dangers involved with this sport. With hundreds of kilograms of metal wrapped around you and going an average of 150 miles per hour on hard asphalt and a chance of 1 in 100 to die in a crash, car racing is definitely one of the most dangerous sports there are. You might think that technology has evolved over time, increasing the safety of the suits and helmets and therefore the overall safety of the driver inside a race car, but technology works both ways. The cars are a lot faster than before and accidents more violent as well. Since 2001, there have been more than 40 fatalities on race circuits around the world. Big wrecks have been part of superspeedway racing for over 3 decades. It has always been a very lethal sport and anything can go wrong at any moment without warning. Driving race cars over the speed of 180 miles is dangerous. NASCAR drivers travel at extremely high speeds exceeding over 200 miles per hour. It looks like fun, but people considering doing this sport should know what they are getting into. Car racing carries the danger of many extreme physical injuries, including the loss of limbs and eyes. Less extreme injuries can result in an extended period of lack of function and ongoing pain, perhaps even for life. Number 8. Motocross. Motocross is one of the most exciting racing sports around. Riders will be able to put their skills to the test performing exhilarating risky maneuvers on a challenging course. But how dangerous is this sport? Motocross can be dangerous. When traveling at high speeds, there is a chance that riders will be hurt in an accident. However, there are a few ways to limit the risk of serious injury. It's essential to wear the right safety equipment. You will also need to make sure that you are using the right technique. If you're not careful, there is a risk that you will be injured when taking part in motocross. However, you will be able to manage these dangers to keep yourself safe. Let's take a closer look at the risks involved with this sport. It's one of the hardest sports to do because of the tracks themselves. Broken arms and legs are a usual thing seen every season, and even those injuries are considered to be a lucky break as many riders suffer injuries that leave them paralyzed or dead. Not to mention that it is an extremely skillful sport. It looks easy because those guys are so good, but go try to ride one of those dirt bikes on a track and you will be shocked. It is not only extremely hard but extremely scary. The average pro motocross racer suffers an average of 3 to 5 major injuries before the time they turn pro. And most of them turn pro between the ages of 16 to 17. That should give you an idea of the sport's rigorous demands. You have probably 80 pounds of gear to wear as well as trying to move a 350 pounds machine in the air. Try doing that for 20 minutes of practice, 20 minutes for Moto 1 and then 20 more for Moto 2. Also, people may think the dangerous part is doing big jumps or going through holes, but the hardest thing is the start. Well, on the start you have 10+ people racing as fast as they can into the first turn that is only 3 maybe 4 bike lengths wide. Number 7. Hockey. Hockey is one of the most dangerous sports as players are constantly fighting and pushing to get an advantage over the other team. While this aggression can be an exciting part of hockey, it has become a growing concern for many players, coaches, and fans. Hockey is a thrilling sport to play. With big goals, incredible saves, and fast skating, hockey attracts athletes of all ages around the world. Though playing hockey does carry risk of injury, maximizing your knowledge of the sport will best prepare you for an injury-free game. A full body of fitted equipment is essential to your safety. Familiarity with ice skating will also keep you on your feet and allow you to dodge on ice hazards. Having your head up while you're on the ice is key to avoiding injuries from the puck, other players' sticks, and collisions with opponents. Number 6. Boxing. Boxing is dangerous. The most frequently noted boxing injuries involve trauma to the head, eyes, and body. The American Association of Neurological Surgeons says that 90% of boxers sustain a traumatic brain injury during their career. Boxing may account for fewer deaths than some other sports, but the number of boxers suffering brain damage is believed to be much higher than recorded. When a boxer gets a direct blow to the head, it is like being hit by a 13-pound bowling ball traveling at 20 miles per hour, which is about 52 times the force of gravity. Being hit on the head can cause bone fractures and brain tissue damage. A blow can damage the surface of the brain, tear nerve networks, cause lesions or bleeding, or produce large clots within the brain. Other injuries to the body from boxing include cuts, bruises, broken teeth, dental problems, broken ribs, internal bleeding, and damage to internal organs. Ex-boxers are more vulnerable to the natural aging of the brain and diseases of the brain. They may be more likely to suffer diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Boxers' brains are smaller and the surface gray matter is thinner. The ventricles within the brain are enlarged because of the decrease in the brain's white matter. Number 5. American football. Football is a dangerous sport. And though there are risks involved, people still love the game. Of all sports, football presents the greatest risk for concussions. In fact, all football players, even those in high school, have a 75% chance of suffering a concussion. Football requires conditioning and strength training, which are excellent forms of exercise and good for cardiovascular health. Number 4. Gymnastics. Gymnastics is one of the world's most difficult and dangerous sports. Gymnastics is a physically demanding sport, requiring a high degree of flexibility and strength. Gymnasts use both their arms and legs, putting them at risk for injury to almost any joint in the body. Some gymnastics injuries, such as bruises and scrapes, are inevitable. A scary gymnastics injuries include a broken legs and neck. Number 3. Horseback riding. Horseback riding can be a dangerous sport. There are many injuries to be wary about before getting into the saddle. Injuries to the head are one of the most common injuries that can happen when riding a horse. Not wearing a helmet is seriously frowned upon when getting onto a horse. Falling off a horse or getting kicked can lead to concussions, fractures, brain damage, and even death. Number 2. Bull riding. As sports become safer, bull riding doubles down on danger. Bull riding is the most stubbornly dangerous sport in the world. A bull rider is 10 times more likely to be seriously injured than a football player. One reason is obvious: 2,000-pound bulls have zero interest in injury prevention. Getting hit with a bull's horn can fracture 33 facial bones. Being stepped on by a bull can kill a man, and has. Number 1. Base jumping. Base jumping is undoubtedly the world's most dangerous sport. The statistics show that there is a far bigger chance of dying base jumping than doing any other activity. Jumping off tall buildings, structures, or natural features, base jumpers deploy a parachute to ensure they land safely. Unlike parachuting in its various forms though, there is not enough time to deploy a reserve chute if the first does not work. Base jumping is also largely illegal across the world, which means that it is often practiced illicitly without official safety teams and medics on hand. And that's all for the top 10 list this time. If you have an opinion about another most dangerous sport, please write it in the comments. Thanks for watching.